Hi friends, I'm back. So I thought it might be useful for some people to have access to this sampler, but as a kit. And because I get it, like sometimes I don't want to leave the house and go buy my own supplies, or maybe I have a toddler and going to the craft store is like the worst idea ever, or there's just bad traffic, whatever. You don't need to explain it to me. I will send you supplies if you would like me to. So here's the original sampler, which you're free to just, stitch like this, although you're going to get the pre-printed fabric, so it's going to have extra swirlies. So what the heck was I doing, right? I changed the pattern on you. I thought it'd be fun to add some extra swirlies, because then you could get some more stitches in. And it's up to you, like how much of this pattern versus how much of this pattern you want to do. As of now, I only have plans to do these colors. But if you guys want, I could always do these colors too. So let me know. I'm just feeling these right now because of the season. So, but yeah, please refer to the first videos as well. I'm not going to repeat any stitches in this tutorials. That would be silly, but so I will go over the new stitches, which once again, you don't have to use. You could do everything like the previous one and just repeat the same swirly motif instead of mixing them all up. So what's new? Here I did brick stitch. So I outlined in backstitch on both sides, and then I filled with backstitch, and we call that brick stitch because it looks like a bunch of little bricks. And I left it open to kind of make it look like a highlight, which you don't have to do. If you don't like it, don't do it. Also, one thing you can do is I left the heart open. If you want to practice any stitches in here, you can do that. If you want to practice lettering in here, you could do that. You could write someone's name. You could write the date. You could sign it there. Do whatever you want. Have fun. My favorite stitch to use with lettering would be the back stitch. But any of these stitches, these linear stitches, would be awesome. Okay, so I'm also going to show you reverse chain, which is what I used here. You could use chain or reverse chain, it doesn't matter. Here's a little close-up, maybe. Nope. It's hard to see because I used a dark color. Hopefully you're going to be able to see it when I stitch. That's something for me to keep in mind when I do my videos, that it's kind of hard for you to see the detail on that. Good to know. But I will show you that. So that's the detail, or excuse me, that's the reverse chain stitch. Also, I added some more French knots here. So here I did like a 3-wrap French knot, and this is just a 1-wrap French knot. So I'm just going to review French knots and show you how you can make a bigger or smaller, even though it's the same amount of floss you're using. It just depends on how many times you wrap your needle. Then I did stem stitch over here, which is what you did if you followed along in the first sampler. But I whipped it. So I whipped it with that bright blue color to give it that look. So I'll show you whipped stem stitch and whipped back stitch, just because I actually like whipped back stitch more. But I did so much back stitch here, I was like, I should mix it up. I did couching here, which I love. Couching's my favorite. And then I just did this little triple leaf thing here. I don't know if there's a name for that, but I'll just show you what that looks like. It's just 3 stitches next to each other. So that's what we're gonna do. So if any of that is interesting to you, follow along. If not, go stitch, have fun. All right, so if you want to grab the kit, it's gonna have the pre-printed fabric, which is nice. It saves you a step, but I really do think it's worth learning how to transfer your patterns onto fabric. I think it's an important skill. So let me just tighten my hoop on here. So you can see I'm using a stand for my hoop. People always like to ask about that. I don't use one unless I'm doing a video, to be perfectly honest. I thought I would use it more often because you can use 2 hands more. But I don't know, I like being able to have more freedom with how I move my hoop, if that makes sense. But for videos, I definitely like to use it so that you all don't get car sick, so you can actually see what I'm doing. So, okay, let me start here with some back stitch and then brick stitch. Oh my goodness. Let me fix myself here. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. My fabric was loose in my hoop, and my hoop was loose on my stand, and it was just all bad. So we're better now. There's still some give on this, but I think we'll survive. Oh, come on. Here's that real life stitching for you. Okay, so I'm just doing some back stitch here, following along my heart. So what I did for my sample piece is I did the whole outline first, but I don't want to take all that time. So we're just going to pretend to do the whole thing. So I'm just going to go up maybe halfway, just so you guys get an idea. Oh, one other thing I'm going to show you is the detached chain stitch with the wide base. I forgot to mention that. Okay, so let's pretend I went all the way up and back. So let's pretend I went all the way this way, and then I went all the way back this way, and now I'm going to come back. So I'm just doing the outline first. Kind of sticky, huh? I should be using some thread conditioner, but I've already started. It's funny, you wouldn't think I'd be so lazy. Okay. Let's put one extra stitch here. You can see I did not really do that one as a back stitch because I wanted to make sure I got into this hole here. Okay. So now I'm just going to fill this area with back stitch, and I'm just going to kind of start in here and then work along one side and then come back down. I really don't think it matters though how you do it. You're just filling the space. So I try to do it kind of like staggered, so I'm not coming up at the same hole, like along the same hole, if that makes sense. You can do it like that. I know people do it like that. It looks cool too, to have it all kind of lined up. But this, I'm trying to make it more look like bricks. You know how bricks are like staggered? That's what I'm trying to say. Of course it won't be perfect, but... So, in the sample piece, I kind of made it like all artsy, so it's kind of like... I try to make it look faded, so... I'll stop with this one and not go all the way up. And then what I'll do is I'll come back down on this side. And there I am doing my stitch in the wrong direction, whatever. The reason you don't want to do them all like that is because if I came back up in this hole, I would just undo my stitch. So sometimes for my first stitch, it's not a back stitch, it's a forward stitch. And then sometimes for my last stitch, it's a forward stitch, not a back stitch, like I'm going to do right here. So this one, like, I don't want to like get too crowded in here, so I'm just going to go right there. Okay, so then I'll do like another layer along the right side here. And then I'm just going to go that high, so I'm going to jump over to the other side and come back down. And then kind of fill in with another stitch right here. So see, it's not like perfect. It's not like perfect. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. So let me pull my example here. You can see how it's kind of, I have little bits going up a little higher. So maybe I'll put one more in here to give it like a faded look, almost like a blended look more. So So we'll do one more stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to add the purple on top, or the light purple, excuse me, on top, doing the same exact thing. Just filling in, going up and filling in on either side. Okay, so that should make sense. Brick stitch. Probably be more simple if you want to just fill in a regular shape first, if you want to practice it, rather than a curvy shape that's jagged. Probably the most complicated way you could use it, but I have faith in you. If you can't figure it out, leave me a note on the video, and I will show you more. Okay, so I have this purple, so I'm just going to show you the wide detached chain. So you go up out one end, go down at the other end, hold your loop. I'm holding it with my thumb here, and then, whoopsie, it likes to do that. So I'm going to hold that open, and here's my little tacking stitch. Ta-da! Go back down. That's it. So that's like a wide base versus a short base, which would be here, which I'll just show you since we're here, even though this is in the other videos. So with the narrow base, I'm just going back in the same hole. Super narrow base. And there's in-betweens. Like here I'm doing a really short, fat one and then a long, skinny one. There's definitely in-between shapes you can make. So that's that. Ta-da! So what's next on my list? We'll do the reverse chain. Now I'm questioning my color choice. So I think, let's see how much, let's use this. Let's see. Can you see can you see my purple? I think you can see my purple. Let me get a little closer here. Since I have the purple and I'm worried about the blue, let's give this a shot, okay? So with the reverse chain stitch, you start with the tacking stitch, like this teeny tiny stitch. I don't have much thread here. We'll see how many we can do. So I'm just making a little baby stitch. There's my little baby stitch. And it's just along the line I'm going to do. I'm doing this swirly line here. So then I'm going to come stitch length down from there. I'm going to go up with my needle. I'm trying not to pull too hard because I don't want to run into my camera. It's really close. It doesn't look as close as it is in real life, I swear. Okay, let me tell you what I'm doing. Okay, I went up, and now I'm taking my needle through. I'm not piercing the fabric. I'm just going through this tacking stitch. I don't know if that's the official word. Okay. So there we go. And then I'm going to go back down in this hole that I made when I first came up. Ta-da! Oh, it's so cute. It's a little chain. Okay, so then I do it again. So this time I go up a stitch length. Okay. And instead of going through a tacking stitch, I go through my previous chain. Same thing. I'm not going through the fabric. I'm just slipping under those stitches. So you don't want to like yank them super tight because you want to make sure there's space for you to go under. The tighter they are, the skinnier your line will be. Ta-da! Let me do it again. Up. Over. Nope, I'm not left-handed. Thought maybe I'd show you a different angle, but no. And then back down. Okay. So that's reverse, and for some reason I get more control when I do reverse. Probably because I'm more of a stabber than a sewer. When you do the regular, let's see, maybe I'll just show you that. Hold on one sec. Okay, I had to get some more thread. So for the regular chain stitch, I'll start here, I guess. I would come up and I do the loop first. And then before I close the loop, I would come up with the next loop. And then tighten. Okay? And then I'd have to go down in here. And then I'd have to come make my next loop. You can see the way I do it. This is obviously a lot clunkier, just because of how I do my chain stitch. So, but it makes the same exact thing. So how you would end this would be with that tacking stitch, which is what we did first with the dark purple. See? And it looks the same. So this is just easier on my fingers and my brain. So that's what I do. Okay, let me do just some random French knots in space while we're here and while I have some thread. So here, first I will do, I don't have very much thread on here. Okay, we'll do just a single loop. And you're gonna see it's small. And a lot easier to pull through. Versus if you loop it more than one time. So that's like 3 times I looped it, I think. I get a little confused. I looped it more than once. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, see, it's a lot harder to pull through. Because I got more of a knot going. So there you go. Oh my god, it looks like the same size. Okay, from this side, it doesn't look identical, I swear. Oh, that's so weird, because usually my French knots look so different from each other, and somehow I did... Oh, that was just the worst demonstration ever. I give up. Okay, I'm telling you, let me show you this. So this is like, these are 3 loops, these big puffy ones, and these are like 1 loop. I promise. Let's get a little better. There we go. That's what I was trying to demonstrate. But I just made like 2 French knots that look identical. I'll get some more thread and we'll try that again. Let me make a big poofy one for you. Let's see, where's the camera? We'll go right here, smack in the middle of my heart. This is just for demo purposes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This one's gonna be massive and not very tight. Ta-da! That's what I was trying to do. I don't know what I did before. You guys have it on camera. You can tell me what I did. I think maybe I only looped it twice. There's just a single loop. See the difference there? I think you probably can. See, I'm getting a little loose on my stand here again. All right, what else should we do? Should we do the stem stitch with the whipping? I'll start over here and show you that. So I still do my weird, incorrect stem stitch. That's just where I am with my life right now. Alright, so there's some stem, and we'll do some back stitch as well. See there again, I do my first back stitch, a forward stitch. I don't know what to say. I think because it feels weird going backwards for the first stitch, I don't know. Okay, we'll call that good. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put the vein of this leaf. I'm just going to perk this over here because we'll do couching. We'll make a purple leaf. Okay, so I will use this bright crazy blue for the whipping just so you can see it. So what you do when you whip, you're gonna pierce the fabric to begin with to come up from the back, but then you're just gonna be like weaving with your previous stitches. I'll show you on the back stitch first. So if you want, you can come up through the same hole to make it nice and clean, or you can come up like nearby, whatever makes sense. And I'm just going to wrap around like a candy cane. So it's up to you whether you want to do it like from the left to the right or the right to the left. Just keep it consistent. So I'm going from right to left under, if that makes sense. And then I go do it again. Every single stitch. And you don't want to make sure your tension's right. So you don't want to over pull, but you want to make it, you know, snug enough. Isn't that cute? I love it. So let's see what makes sense to end here. If you want to put it here, yeah, I kind of want it like, yeah, I guess I'm just going to go right back into this hole. That would actually probably look perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad at my stand. Oh my gosh, I just had to fight with my stand for a while. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let me show you how you whip the stem. It's just the same thing, except that since the stem stitch is like overlapping itself, it can be kind of confusing as far as where you want to go in. And honestly, as long as you keep it consistent, I don't think it matters. That's what I've decided. So you can see I kind of have like overlaps where my stitches are, and that's where I'm gonna go in. So I'm kind of going in where they cross. I hope that makes sense. As long as you go in at regular intervals, I don't think it's gonna matter. Like I said, so there you go. I whipped you up some stem stitch. So it's poofier than the back stitch because that base layer, the stem stitch, is obviously poofier than the back stitch. So that's what we have there. Yay. I think that's so fun. Oh man, I'm easily amused. Okay, so let's take a look at the couching then. So I've got my blue and I've got some purple here. So in the design though, I used just the same color as my couching thread and as my, I don't know which is which. I think the one that you use the tacking stitches, that's your couching, and the one that's going down, the one that you're laying down is being couched. I don't know what it has to do with a couch. I have no idea. I should probably look this up. I just know I enjoy this stitch, so we're gonna do it. So you can use the same color, you can use different colors, do whatever you want. So for the color that's going to be tacked down, in this case the purple, I came up at the beginning and I'm going to go all the way down at the end where I want it to end. And I'm just going to kind of hold on to it. I'm just going to leave it kind of hanging out over here. Because I'm going to get the tension right with my couching thread, this bright blue. And then when I'm done, I want to make sure I anchor both sides. Okay, so I'm going to anchor both strands, is what I want to say. And it's up to you how many stitches you want to use. Okay, so I'm just going to come up alongside my vein line here, whichever side you prefer. And then I'm just going to tack down this stitch by going back down. Whoa, I kind of am at a weird angle. I want to keep it kind of like, even though it's a really, really small stitch, in the past sometimes I've made it kind of angled and then it's not so good. So you want to make sure it stays perpendicular to your line. A way to make sure that it doesn't have an angle to it at all would be to go back down into the same hole, which I can show you right now. So I just want to make sure I scoop up this thread so it gets tacked down, and then I go down the same hole. And then since I'm, going in the same place I came up, there's not going to be any angle on it, right? So that actually looks pretty good. So I'll do that again. So I'll just come up along the line, go back down in the same hole. So whichever way you want to do. So that's it. And that kind of tacks down my thread. So you can see it kind of, wherever there's a tacking stitch, you have a change in direction, like if you're graphing. So obviously the more couching stitches here, these tacking stitches, the smoother of a line you're going to have. And let me do actually one over here, because this is where we have the most curve. But of course, then, you know, you're covering more of your line and it takes more work, but that's fine, you know. So we'll come down here. And that's it. And I'm going to give this purple a little tug to kind of smooth it out a little more. And then I would go and anchor both these threads that I just used. So I'll take another look here at the sample piece. You can see I used 1, 2, 3. I only did 3. And it looks like I need to pull the end down a bit more. It's kind of poofy over here. I wanted to look at the back off camera rather than letting you see it. It's very ugly. But there you go. There's our couching. Okay, so to finish this off, I'm just going to do the little triple leaves. So I usually start away from my stem. Then I'm attaching the leaves to, and I go back at a little angle. And I'll have this be the center one. So then I do 2 stitches on either side. And the angle's up to you. You can kind of change the way the leaf looks depending on the angle and the length of all of these stitches. So it's just, I don't know what it is, but I use it in some of my patterns and I never know what to call it or how to teach it. So there you go. Now I can refer to this video. If you want them like all the same length, I can do that, and at a crazy angle. I'll do them wider apart. You'll get kind of a different look. Like that. And then let's say you want them closer together, you'll get even a different look. It'll almost turn into like it'll just look like a satin stitch almost if they're really close together. Except they're all going into the same hole. Ta-da! So there you go. It's just little leaves using 3 stitches. They're cute. Alright, well that's it. That's all that's new. If you have any questions or you want to see some extra stitches added on here, let me know. And just because, you know, I put the stitches somewhere specific on my sampler doesn't mean you need to put your stitches there. And you can mix it up. There's lots of room, I think, on this pattern to try some different stuff. So I would love to see what you create. Please tag me on Instagram if you're sharing your work. And let me know if I can share it too with everyone else. So, all right, my friends. Namaste.